Welcome to Beyond the Closing Table with Setco Services. In this podcast, we delve into the world of real estate and explore what happens beyond the closing table. Join us for insightful discussions and expert interviews that will change the way you see real estate transactions. Welcome to Beyond the Closing Table, sponsored by Setco Services. I'm George Brandon Jr. Today I have my good neighbor and friend, Mark Smith. Mark, how are you?
Doing well today. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in, bud. So I think you've listened to the podcast before. Just like get a little background and then start poking you about what you've done in life. Is that cool today?
That is cool today.
Because you're technically retired, right?
Technically, yes.
Technically?
I have not had a W-2 in 7 years.
Yeah, but you got your hands in a lot. We'll go into that. Where are you from?
I am from a place most people haven't heard of, Coos Bay, Oregon.
Coos Bay.
Where's tell
that
people,
near? Can we get
well, it's become more prominent because it's the airport for the Bandon Dunes golf course, which may or may not mean anything to you, but
means nothing to me because you know I'm not a big golfer.
Bandon Dunes is the number one golf destination in the United States.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
in Oregon.
Yeah, I will tell you that didn't exist when I grew up. It was,
right? Do those hippies out there? Do they play golf?
No.
Okay.
No, and we didn't really, we didn't really have hippies where I lived, let's say. So I like to say Coos Bay, to use like maybe TV shows people were familiar with, is if Deadliest Catch had a baby with Axemen.
Okay. Okay. That's descriptive. Well, I'll give you that, brother.
Well, it's the land. It was beautiful.
So you're on the water. It's on the water. Okay.
And it was, it's just kind of, I mean, by distance, 3.5, 4 hours to the California border.
Okay.
By timeline, about 45 years.
Okay. Okay.
It was.
So just super rural? Like when you were there?
Around, oh, yes. Very rural. It's based around the logging industry.
Okay. Timber.
And fishing.
Got it.
So.
That makes sense. Axeman.
Everybody.
Totally gets. Okay.
That's what it came from. And
Got it.
Everybody that I knew, their father was either owned a fishing boat, worked on a fishing boat. You worked up in the woods, falling trees and what you see on an Axeman, or you worked in one of the mills, which was either a timber mill or a plywood mill.
Okay. That
evolved over time to chips. So at one point, it was the largest timber export port in the world.
Really? Okay.
Now, that's great for a while.
Yeah.
Until you run out of things to export.
Yeah. Run out of trees.
Well, when Oregon didn't necessarily run out of trees, but it ran out of trees they were allowed to cut down.
Got it. Okay.
So the environmentalists got involved and maybe a few more hippies at that point in time to use that term.
For sure.
But nonetheless.
So what was it like growing up there? How was your childhood?
That was fantastic. It's like, to stay on the movie concept, it's like a Stand By Me thing, if that means anything. You see these kids, I grew up outside of town. And it was mostly my mom and brother and I, and then we had a younger brother down the road. But
so what did your folks do?
Well, my dad he kind of departed a little early. My mom kind of did what single moms had to do back then. It was probably just waitressing, cocktail waitressing, doing whatever. And there's an interesting part I'll tell you about her as that evolved, which was pretty cool. But we lived on my grandparents' property. We had a little trailer on top of the hill.
Okay.
But we were 3 miles outside of town. Might as well have been 300. We went probably every 2-3 weeks, kind of head into town, if you will. Yeah.
How old were you when your dad bolted?
I had a few stops along the way, 7 or 8, kind of the first time for what we thought was good.
Okay.
He swung by a few times, but that's kind of adds a little spice to the story as we go.
I got it. He swung by
I was very lucky. Pardon?
Well, that's curious. I didn't know that about you. And, we do know each other. You're such a good dad.
Well, you know what?
Not that you shouldn't be.
I had a friend tell me once a long time ago, he said, you're going to learn everything from your boss. Some things what to do and then what not to do.
Right.
You learn something from every environment. But I was really lucky. My grandparents are right there.
Yeah.
To make me in the redneck category, I figured out the other day when I was born, my grandmother was 39.
Okay.
And my grandmother and grandfather, I was the first generation of my family born outside of West Texas. So it was very much a Grapes of Wrath kind of story. They grew up in these small towns.
How the hell they end up in Oregon? Hold on,
that's where the Grapes of Wrath part comes in.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
You might have Brownwood, Texas is known for bird hunting.
Yeah.
So they didn't.
I know Texas way better than Oregon.
It's well, maybe these things. Memphis, Texas, Plainview, which I just went there and discovered why it's called Plainview, because that's what it is. You can see
very plain views.
New Mexico from there.
Okay.
But they grew up in these small, think Dust Bowl. They were literally cotton pickers, just barely getting by.
Yeah.
And my grandfather had stories on stories he told me over the years that were, bone chilling about what it meant to be hungry.
Depression era?
Oh, very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Very much. Where that morning you went and picked what you had for lunch.
Yeah.
Or you picked for the man you worked for, and then if there's enough
get lunch.
left over,
yeah.
then you'd have, boiled beans for dinner or something that I must listen to these stories going, they're not possibly true, which most of them were.
Probably were. Yeah.
And he was quite a character. But anyway, so we had him, which helped a lot, and then it gave a better picture. So, and then I was talking to my brother last night about it. You grow up in this property my grandfather didn't know how to buy flat land. He only bought cheap land on a hill.
Okay.
Which is what it was all about.
Okay, got it.
That's where my calves came from. I discovered that growing up.
Awesome.
Just walking uphill for everything. But we got to grow up on this little 5-acre, say, gentleman farm. We had an orchard. We had cows, pigs, chickens, horses, row crops. You really learned how to grow up in that lifestyle. Yeah. And my grandfather sometimes mistook the grandchildren. Kind of thought it was more of an indentured servant relationship.
Yeah.
Because we were all big kids very early. We were the help.
Yeah.
I was happy to do it.
I thought that was the reason that families had so many kids back then.
They didn't tell me
breeding help.
Didn't tell me that originally, but it really was a big life forward to grow up in that kind of an environment where, you fed the cows, you milked the cows, you slopped the pigs, and it was kind of that thing for Christmas one year, you'd get a pig. And for Christmas the next year, you eat the pig. Okay. Right? You don't get really emotionally attached, but
I was about to ask you, did you name the pig?
In the beginning, and then you figure out, this year
I probably shouldn't get so attached. Yeah.
Just a lot like Curly did last year.
That's awesome.
But you really learned a lot about life that I think my kids, again, probably like listening to my grandfather's stories. I don't know that they believe them.
Yeah.
But that was a really good environment to grow up in. And where we lived, like I said, everything was on a hill, but it was feeding all the way down, probably another mile to the bay, in Coos Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Nashak had a large bay and estuaries. And so for us, in the summertime, when my grandfather didn't have a project for us so we could sneak away, it was literally have breakfast, pack a lunch, grandma, my mom make us a sandwich, and you throw it in your backpack, and we grab our machetes, which I look back now that, on your 8th birthday, you got a machete.
Yeah.
Because there was no way to get to the bay. You just, something out of a movie, you just chop a path.
Yeah.
You get down there and you make forts and rafts and all these things.
Awesome.
It was awesome. I didn't know how awesome it was. I thought I was bored. Because you go to school and you hear about what these other kids did that lived in town, and it seemed more exciting, but
I'd love for my kids to do some more of that type of stuff this day and time.
Oh my God, I'd love to. My kids, they get a little bit of exposure, but not a lot,
Actually, funny side note, totally present day. We're coming home, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and it was one of the landscapers had dropped a machete off their trailer sitting in the middle of the street out in front of my house. And so I go pick it up. It's in my garage. You're more than welcome to it. My girls had no idea what it was.
Who needs a knife that big?
Like that? Why is there a giant knife in the street?
Have that? It's but that part is the big memories that come back.
Yeah.
And I know, and I would come back to it, but I think my son Caden was 12, and we went back for some kind of visit. And when I went there, one of the paths we took was now paved.
Really?
Right?
Okay. So you went back to
I went back
your
to
area where the house was.
My grandparents had long sold the ranch, and it had been a lifetime. And so now, you go back and you take this road down that was only a big D9 cat could get down because of the timber business and all the big equipment. And you drive down now, and now there's these beautiful homes that sit on the bay. And I'm like, you realize
it's all fancy.
It's fancy. And you're like, how did this happen? I've only been gone 5 years. And it's been more like 35 years. Yeah. But nonetheless.
Say, man, Dad, you're full of crap. You didn't
he didn't believe it. Lucky for me, we went to leave, and I'm sitting at the top of the hill, and there's what used to be an incredible rural slum. It was just what would
A what?
A slum. It was whatever this person could do on 3 acres and put the most trailers possible and let these impoverished people live in there. It was like across the street.
Got it.
Now that's gone.
Yeah.
And there's a guy working in the yard.
We call that a trailer park here in the South.
Well, if there was a more random way to do that.
Okay. There's a worse way?
No.
Okay.
It's pretty impressive. But anyway, we're sitting there and there's a guy across the street working in the yard of this absolutely gorgeous house. And I'm like, he keeps eyeballing me and I'm doing the same. We played high school football together. And
really?
He was a developer now and he bought all that land. It was the guy who did all this.
Yeah.
I finally got
rid of the trailer park and built multi-million-dollar homes on the bay.
Tore down trailer park and built a parking lot. But,
I got you.
But anyway, that's the only reason they believe me. But back to the kind of growing up, we were really lucky in that way, just to kind of have that exposure. And we kind of had two sets of parents, if you will, between my mom and grandparents, which kids now, I don't know, many of them, I know your kids are fortunate, but a lot of grandparents, we pack up and move away and you're just no longer living in each other's backyard.
Spend time with your grandparents. We're fortunate to have my parents. Her parents are close, but a lot of families don't get to grow up that way. Especially, I feel like in this area, because a lot of people here are transplant.
So, there's only so many people with real longevity here.
So going back, how did you go, or your granddad or the family go from West Texas to freaking Oregon?
You can imagine it wasn't a very prosperous place in that time. West Texas.
Well, it doesn't sound like either was, but I guess there was industry in Oregon.
Oregon was booming because of timber.
Got it. Okay.
And so my grandparents had gotten word from family that, they'd moved up there and somebody got a job and they were hiring, and for what they considered to be pretty premium wages.
Yeah.
What I have no idea what that was.
Opportunity.
I just remember my grandfather telling me his first job was to milk like 100 cows a day. You did it once in the morning and once at night, which I don't know if sounds possible. And he got paid $25 a month.
Milk.
He got paid $25 a month. Unless he wanted unlimited milk, then it went down to 20. So
unless he what? If he didn't hit his goal or something?
So if he took $25, he couldn't take any milk with him. But if he only took $20 of pay a month, then he could take all the milk he wanted.
Oh, unlimited. Got it. Unlimited milk. Okay,
so I don't know. It had to be a big wage to get their attention. But nonetheless, they packed up, and I say Grapes of Wrath because if you've ever seen the movies or read the book, you got these hillbillies with chairs tied to the top of their truck and kids everywhere. And, they're driving to what they think is the promised land. And you see them on the side of the road with a Coleman stove cooking eggs in the morning. Yeah. Because there was no hotels. None of these things were an option.
Yeah.
And so they went out there, and my grandfather started working in one of the timber mills. And,
that's awesome.
Bought this piece of property for, I think it was $5,000 at the time. Yeah. Didn't have much of a house on it. We changed that over the years.
But still, I'm sure in retrospect today.
Yeah, it's still
you're the guy you played football with.
Oh yeah. Well,
so how was school? Where'd you go to school? Did you go to school in town?
Yeah. So we took the bus over to Eastside Elementary. Went to all my first 6 years there.
Okay.
In that window in there, my dad that had kind of come and went had stopped by once, I think, and left us with another brother who's 7 years younger than me, who's got some challenges. I mean, just special needs kind of things, but good kid. But
Dad just stopped in and dropped off a kid?
No.
I'm not going to make light of that, but that's the way you just painted that picture.
I think it's not in the literal point, but he swung by to say hello, and the next thing I know, we have a brother.
Oh, got it.
A few months down the road.
Okay.
So anyway, it was now 3 of us, but so we went to school on East Side. I think taking the bus. I see all these empty buses in South Walton. I know it's never going to happen. I think all kids should have to take the bus for a certain time. It's a cultural experience that builds fiber in your spine.
I agree.
My first everything was on that bus.
Choose the battles in your household, Mark.
To whatever.
I rode the bus.
And the bus stop.
Yeah.
Which in Oregon, you had to realize was the dads got together and built bus stops because we had about 100 inches of rain, 110 inches of rain a year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wet and rainy.
Yeah. Here, I agree wholeheartedly. The cultural experience of taking the bus helped me grow as a young man. Here, as I, with humor stated, lost that battle in my household, but I didn't argue too much because the way the bus works here, it's like an hour plus earlier than they have to leave the house.
Yes.
And it's an hour later.
I totally get it. I see that, our kids were all out of school by the time we came here, but I see the turn lane going into the schools off 98. And,
there's still a bunch of kids that take them. It's just, I think in, where we are in our little area, it's limited. Did you know that bus comes down Musset and backs up?
Yes.
You know, it backed over Stephanie in her Denali, not her, but she was in her Denali.
No.
She was stopped at stop sign and it crushed the whole front end of a Denali.
I could see it. I know
it
now.
Sure weight.
They've came down further and started turning around.
They turn around in the little gravel in front of Churchill.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
yeah, it was an interesting, Bellamy, that would have been 10 years ago. Bellamy was a baby.
Oh, wow.
And she was just at the stop sign. The bus just crushed the whole front end of the truck. No one was hurt. Thank the Lord.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. No backup cameras on.
At least not 10 years ago in the Walton County school system.
Understood.
So luckily it all worked out. I didn't have to sue our own school system over that shenanigans. Anyway, I digress. So were you a good kid in school? School was never really hard for me. And especially not there. It wasn't like these were STEM classes. I'll explain it later, but when I went to high school, see Mark's facial expression on the video when he says there.
It's I'm really glad I'm from there as the preposition goes, but I'm not there.
The educational system wasn't exactly.
It was, I was born in 63. So I guess, you started going to school 60, whatever, 8, 9. It was different. But hey, when it's all you know, it's all you know. So,
yeah. You didn't know any different? I mean, did you get in trouble a lot? Or were you a pretty good kid?
No. You know what? It was, I don't know if I was afraid to or what. Believe it or not, I was probably a little more shy. I went through these stages as a kid where you're kind of normal proportion. And then about 10 or 11 started getting a little thicker.
Yeah.
And,
is that what you call it?
That's what I called it, but it's what I called it when we went to JCPenney's and you went to this special section. The Huskies.
I've been to that section. I was in that section when I got my pants too, brother. I'm with you. We're on the same boat.
Were they green?
Yeah.
Because mine were green.
We were, mine were the blue jeans. I still had to go to the Husky section.
It's what I remember most about it is I got to that point, and that probably made me a little more shy, just a fat kid with glasses.
Yeah.
And then I started growing, and it just
up. Yeah.
And it was like overnight. And my mom, incredible lady, like a lot of working moms, she's got 100 things going. She could do a lot of things. So was not one of those things. So they had this stuff in the 60s and 70s called stitch witchery. It was like a piece of white cloth, and you would put it between two things you wanted to adhere together. So you'd curl your hem up on your pants.
Okay.
She'd put the stitch witchery in there and iron it, and the heat would glue your pants so your hem would come up.
Okay.
So as I got taller, but the same size, she kept extending my pants because we'd never cut them. The cuff went up like 8 inches.
Yeah.
So I was a kid. It looked like lifesavers.
Because you were wearing adult pants and you were only 4 feet tall.
Right.
Yeah, I got it.
But as she just kept lowering it, so it looked like little lifesaver stripes on my. It was like the water levels. You could see me growing as she kept dropping my seam like an inch at a time.
I get it. I don't know. I haven't heard the stitch thing, but I'm visioning how you're growing with your pants. But I get there. I mean,
Yeah. So that took some time. So I think 6th grade, you had this big transition. You went across the football fields to the junior high. Got to be.
So you are. That was next. Like I know you. So you played football. Were you already playing football?
No, they didn't have football then.
Okay.
In 6th grade, they didn't have it. It started in junior high, which there was 8th and 9th.
When you said across the football field, you're talking about the middle schools on one side or elementary schools on the other side.
So there was like a shared multi-use field between the two schools.
Mm-hmm.
And, they would practice there sometimes, or there would be another field down the hill.
Okay.
But it wasn't very far of a transition, but it was a lifetime difference because you brought in kids from other areas, like from where the docks were.
Okay.
And you brought in a rougher kids that I all of a sudden felt privileged.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Kids that live way out in the country. I thought I did, but I turned out my lifestyle was much better than I thought when I got exposed to these environments. And, drugs came in, the weed thing, it's Oregon. So
yeah.
Even
so
then,
is it there, you like the docks kid you referenced, or, from the docks. Was it like the fisherhead families?
Yeah,
or?
You had some kids. I say that from this area called Charleston, where you had those kids coming in, and it was just, they were growing up in a much more, just a rougher environment, and kind of had to fend for themselves in many cases. Super rural kids. I didn't realize, when I looked out at these kids, I'm scared to death of half of them. There's fights in the hallways. There's people selling weed. I mean, it wasn't like the worst place in the world. I just getting exposed to things that I had been.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
But
shelter is probably a better word.
Yeah, yes. And I didn't really realize that. We didn't have any organized sports because we lived too far outside of town. So you'd play softball until you hit the ball in the weeds and couldn't find it, and the game was over.
So you never played any organized sports until middle
seventh
school?
grade.
Okay. Huh.
And
no little league, no
nothing.
Because it didn't exist, or
it was for in town, and that meant my mom or grandmother would have to drive me 25, 30 minutes to a practice. Which, not that they wouldn't have done things to help us, it just, even my friends out there, really wasn't something everybody did. Yeah. It was a whole nother world.
Got it.
So this was my first time to be part of organized sports, and I had an uncle who played college football and was like borderline, like back when the NFL had unlimited drafts, wasn't 7 rounds. I mean, he was like, 20th round or something. But he's a great college football player. And so, I thought, hey, I want to play football because Uncle Carl did.
Yeah.
And it was the first time to be able to do that. Well, they throw your stuff at you. It's the first day of school. You're changing classrooms for the first time. It's got these crazy kids with big stitched weed, emblems on the back of their jackets. And I'm like, I've fallen into like the Sharks and Jets of Coos Bay. I didn't know what was happening. And then at the end of the day, we go to football practice. And so they give you your clothes. I didn't know what a girdle was with the pads. I mean, the pads weren't in it. The pads weren't in the pants. I'm late, scared to death.
They didn't have a guidance counselor standing at the doors to help you with your pad insertion and your girdle and your cup.
No, Mr. Pennington wasn't that nurturing. And so you're late and you're running out there and your pads are falling out. I mean, God, I'd love to see a video of that now. And I remember the first practice.
Well, you can't be the only one in this situation.
He would, but in my brain I am.
Yeah,
right? Because you're not even wanting to make eye contact,
yeah.
for God forbid, with these people. But
well, are you a bigger kid at this age?
So going
comparatively
into 7th grade is when I started to thin out.
Okay.
6th grade, I saw my old report card. I was 5'8", 172, which
that's pretty damn good for 6th grade, dude.
It was a start, but you don't see it looking out, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, I get that.
You just think
100%.
you're with all your friends. So,
and probably there's lack of confidence. And
oh, yeah. So by 7th grade, I'm like 5'11", and overnight just showed up. Still weighing 180 pounds.
That's taller than me today, so kiss my ass.
I got a lot of genes out there. Yeah. And, but nonetheless, I didn't really realize what's going on. And I don't know what I'm doing, how to get in a 3-point stance. And automatically, as you can imagine, I'm on the line.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, only the people watching on video can see that, but Mark is a healthy boy. Yeah. Okay. So
it's
you just said you're 5'11", 180 at 7th grade.
Even thinking about that in the 7th grade, you're like, not very many people were.
There's plenty of starting kids in high school that aren't that big.
Well, it was the first time I began to look at teachers eye to eye or down at them.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was a start.
Yeah.
So we go, and so the first practice, I'm all excited, and it gets on the line, and coach is like, he's got high hopes for me, right?
Yeah.
Because he sees things I don't see, and he's like, you got to be more aggressive. You got to do this. I'm like, I don't know how.
You haven't played a team sport today, organized team sport today.
Slaughtered 50 pigs and 100 cows. By then I'd cut throats, threw guts everywhere. I'm not afraid of anything. I just didn't know how to do it. So he shows me. And at the end of practice, he says, just stay extra. I just want to show you how to do this. So he shows me how this forearm shiver is going to work from the defensive guys. Well, I've got a helmet on that, had to be 40 years old in this wide open. I look almost like Jim Plunkett. My face is coming out. And he throws his forearm shiver, hits me square in the nose, and I've always had an issue with this, bleed like a stuck pig.
Yeah.
So he's walking me my mom.
The very first hit?
Very first hit from an adult. And he walks me to my car, my mom's car, because she comes to pick me up after practice. And I am just pouring blood. My jersey's covered in blood. And he's there just apologizing. And the man didn't mean to do it. And my mom was fine with it. But that was my first experience with organized sports. And
football.
You make me think about something, though, George. I think it was a big transition for us then because my mom showed up. I remember the 72 Monte Carlo, which was a hot car in the day.
Yep.
And the only reason it existed because, as I told you, my mom had worked some of these jobs just trying to get by. And she ended up being the first cohort of female employees for the Weyerhaeuser Corporation inside of a mill.
Okay.
So they would not hire females. And it was 72. She got this job. Now it was $10 an hour.
Okay.
And that was unspeakable money. We got new Monte
Carlo.
You
said 1972?
Yeah, 1972. The new Monte Carlo.
Really good money.
And a double wide. Now I sat there and thought,
you're in hog heaven, man.
What's left? There's nothing left. I couldn't touch both sids of my house by leaning on the inside anymore.
It's not funny.
It is funny. If you think about it, you're big enough. And, it had fancy like foil wallpaper designs. It was, I thought if I knew what Malibu was, I thought we would have been living in it. But so anyway, that was the
kick. You up in the new Monte Carlo when you're covered in blood.
Say, don't get blood on my coat.
Yeah, I bet. I just said that too.
It is. So anyway, that story plays in well. So my mom is working in this mill, and you can imagine the sexual harassment. She was a very attractive lady, incredibly fit. If she wasn't fit before, they crawled under the big belts that moved sawdust, and you had to clean that out, like by shovel, by hand.
All right. I know. I've been in
labor, and
that's what she did.
That's what she did.
Okay, I imagine it was like an office job. She was working in the warehouse.
Working.
Yeah,
and this was something dictated from the corporate headquarters of Weyerhaeuser, which is a massive company, that mandate to hire these women. So the people in the mill. Is
this the first inklings of wokeism or something?
Well,
or why did that?
Just fairness, right?
Okay, all right.
They wouldn't hire women. They were too weak, quote unquote. You can't see that, to do the job. And that was just an excuse that relegated them to the office and limited their income. So Weyerhaeuser Corporation says, we're going to take a step forward before there was the word progressive or whatever, but just kind of women's rights at that point to say, if you want to do this job and you can do the job, then you can come make the money. And she did, but they put them they wasn't exactly a warm reception.
Got it.
If you exclude, the butt slapping at lunchtime and everything they went through, they were really incredible just the challenges they faced. And so in there, now I'm in seventh grade, and I'm really excited for those eighth graders that I was afraid of to move on. So now my turn to be king of the hill.
Yeah.
Now I knew how to put my pads on, because I could do that. I played basketball a little bit, which I was never very good at, and that didn't ever change. But while my mom was there, she met another single parent.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if it's because he just was the biggest man in the mill and she was looking for security, which was definitely a possibility, because once they started dating, all this other harassment and everything.
Ass slapping went away.
Ass slapping went away as a Big Tom was there.
Okay.
And the challenge was Big Tom had sole custody of 5 children.
Holy baby Jesus.
Say we have 3 boys. They had 2 boys, 3 girls. And one of their first early dates, if you will, what do people do with 2 people who are 34 and 35 at the time, I think?
How old was your mom? I know grandma was 39.
I know, but mom didn't have me till she's 22. So I was around 13 when this happened. So 35.
Okay. All right.
So that quite as early start as grandma had. And I failed to mention my grandfather was 21 when they got married. So try that on for legal size. Even in Mississippi, there's a know you're from, that does not sell.
Yeah.
But in Texas at the time, it did.
Okay.
But anyway,
it's funny you know that.
She starts to go on a few dates with this guy, which just meant we all hung out. Well,
all the families together?
All the families, all 8 kids.
Okay.
So you had remember the age range at this point, but nonetheless, you try to find something to hang out with these kids. You know, like, hey, we have just basically won the lottery where I live.
Yeah.
We got the new trailer. Mom's got the hot Monte Carlo. Things going well at school. These people lived in North Bend, which was the adjoining town.
Okay.
Bitter rivalries between the 2 towns.
Okay.
And my mom and the uncle I mentioned, all her brothers and sisters all went to the Coos Bay schools, which back then it's called Marshfield, which was the original name of this little town, for good reason, because it was a field of marshes.
Okay, got it.
So they start dating, and I'm like, I don't know what you're thinking, because he seems like a really nice guy. Most of his kids I don't really want much to do with, but I get it. She's by herself.
Was there any near your age?
There were, just looking forward a little bit. My sophomore year, a little foreshadowing, we had in the same school 3 freshmen, 2 juniors, 1 sophomore, 1 senior.
Okay, yeah.
So 7 kids simultaneously in high school.
Okay.
And I wasn't the biggest guy or girl.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So imagine feeding that crew. So
yeah.
So anyway, they're dating, and I'm like, she starts talking to me, and I'm like, this is a bad idea. And I was just being, without really dad in the house, you kind of evolve a little bit faster.
Yeah.
You know, you're having conversations you wouldn't normally have when you're 13, and just like, I'm like, I just think this is a lousy idea, and I don't think we should do that. And she said, well, she was going to do that. And I understood, but so they moved. My dad had a house in town in North Bend, cute little house.
Your real dad?
It was my stepdad. I was before he had the boyfriend at the time.
Got it. Okay.
And had this house he had bought that was 3 bedroom, 1 bath, common for the time. Cute little house, about 1,100 square feet. Now there's him and 5 kids living in it. So he moves my mom and me and my 2 brothers in. The math doesn't work, right?
Yeah, at all.
Unless you include the garage.
Oh, okay. All right.
So this is Oregon. So this is not.
It's a 4-bedroom.
Santa Teresa Beach. So
still 1 bath.
I got there, and they had the garage door, the old swing down kind, with newspaper stuck in all the cracks, and 2 twin beds out there for me and my older stepbrother to live in. I lasted 1 night and called my grandma. So
you're coming back?
I said, Nana, come get me. So I wasn't, that's probably the most, I say, trouble or combative I ever was. It's like, I'm leaving. And until this all gets fixed, I'm not coming. I'll come back on the weekends, say hi, but I'm not going to be around here. So
was Mom cool with that?
She wasn't cool with it, but her and my grandma were having a little bit of a rub about all this. So I had an ally.
Yeah.
And I got to go right back to what I was used to. And I got to go to my same schools. I got to, live my life as I wanted to.
Oh, so you were in a totally different school district and everything.
Yeah. So they were in a separate town, a separate school district.
Got it. Okay.
Probably shouldn't have. They should all be one by the size of them, but that's the way it was. And so we negotiated a settlement.
Okay.
So
you and your mom?
Yeah. It's basically my first trip down arbitration with me and my grandma and the 2 adults. My mom
served you well later in life and business, I'm sure.
Little did I realize, George, the way things were headed. Little did I realize. So they purchased a house on the city limits. And I mean, literally, I could see the fence, like this community college that was there, to our house. And they're like, okay, we put an offer on this house. It's brand new construction. It was 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay.
Which seems like, it was a mansion to me. And
moving on up.
But they're like, we're only going to buy it if you move back home, and we want you to go to the other school district. So, well, that's not true. The freshman, 8th grade, they said, you can do what you want because you could choose.
Yeah.
So I, being a little stubborn, even back then, I just wanted to stay with this school. I changed junior highs, but I stayed in the same school district. And that worked well. I went there, played football. I was now much taller. I was, as an 8th grader, 6'2", 200. And I remember Mike Bird, who I just saw.
Were you a giant out there?
You would think. There was one kid, Big Mike, who
I don't know. I probably have a tainted perception of Oregon football, but
well, those people you watch with the green outfits on, the goofy things, none of those are from Oregon. Okay, those are just California transfers working for the evil University of Oregon, not Oregon State. That's a different conversation. So
we're going to get there too.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. You got me rolling there. So anyway, I played football, but there was a kid on the team who, ironically, had moved to Pensacola. I just missed him. He passed away last year. Mm-hmm. Big Mike in 8th grade was 6'4", 260.
So you did have some big boys.
And after us, it was a bit of a fall off, if you will.
Yeah. 2 offensive tackles.
Yeah. And I learned I was pretty good at this. And I became more comfortable in my stature. Mm-hmm. And I realized all these people were staying about the same, and I'd keep getting bigger and bigger. And you more coordinated as you get used to that size of body and perform pretty well. But then I started wrestling.
Okay.
And that was new to me, but I liked it. It was the sport that I didn't have to depend on anybody else. And the harder you worked, the better the results were. And I liked this whole one-on-one combat thing. And that turned out to be a big deal for me. And so, ironically, the small school across town that
you're already in freaking heavyweight.
I know. Well, you're bordering it. I think 191 was the heaviest weight at the time for us. But
in 8th grade, dude.
I know. Okay. And I don't even remember because I went to a few tournaments as a little kid and got squashed and scared. Some sweaty guys tried to grab you, which stranger danger. I don't want to be in here. So anyway, I was having a lot of success with that, and the coaches at the high school that my steps went to was aware of me. And then they became aware of the family dynamic of where we lived and we could go to either school. And then the wrestling coach of all people came to me. And again, you're 14. This is the first time
this is where your step siblings are going? The other high school?
Coos Bay was original town I'm born. Yeah. North Bend is the name.
So these coaches are at North Bend.
They're at North Bend.
Okay, got it.
So the wrestling coach got a hold of me and said, I want to talk to you. And he came to the house, and he was quite a character. And he put a pitch on me that I didn't see until I started talking to colleges. I mean, it was
really
real live recruiting. And he's like, you come with me, I'll make you state champion, but you have to do everything I say. If you do everything I say, you will do that. And so I'm like, okay. So I went to a few practices it was in the summer between 8th grade and 9th grade. And before football season, 2-a-day started before school. So I went to work out with some of these kids from the other school, from North Bend. And these were the ones going to Greco-Roman or Roman, and freestyle, that Olympic style wrestling. Uh-huh. In the summer, that's when you did that. And these were the kids that were going to nationals. Okay. I didn't know that. I was just their size. But now I'm 190. They're 190 pounders going to the nationals. He needs somebody to beat the living hell out of. That was me.
Okay.
And I didn't know that. So, but it's over. I got to go to a bunch of practices for a few weeks, learned what good was.
Yeah.
And what it meant to be.
These guys have been training for a while. Or wrestling
and they taught you a lot. Wrestlers in that crazy singlet.
Yeah.
Which you're pretty exposed.
Yeah.
And I learned how to walk on my hands while somebody held a hold of your manhood, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
As torture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these guys beat me senseless.
Jesus.
But it made me incredibly tough. Yeah. And I realized, okay, I got a picture of what it took. So I told the other school, whether my uncle had gone to, won 3 state championships with, 18 years before, I'm out. And by the way, the same coach that coached my uncle in high school football was still there.
Okay.
And so I made the transition and moved over to the other school districts and started playing football. Back then, as a freshman, you were not allowed in the state of Oregon to play varsity.
Okay.
So as a freshman, I was 6'2", 215, something like that.
What position were you playing?
Well, I was short-lived halfback.
Okay.
But they had
was it the biggest freshman halfback ever?
That's what they thought. And I'd never
Were you fast?
Before. No.
Okay.
I'm dangerous within 3 feet.
Very similar.
Yeah. And
shorter, but similar.
And so that didn't last, but I learned how to play defense. And I was at that size, you played both ways.
Yeah.
Right. They weren't going to take you off the field.
Yeah.
I refused to play special teams my entire life. I wouldn't do that. But I could play both sides of the ball, and I learned how to play defense.
Okay.
And that was good. And then
They start you at D-line, linebacker, or what?
D-line.
Okay.
You started to try to do the linebacker thing. I'm like, I'm a wrestler. Put me down there with everybody else.
Got it.
For combat.
Yeah.
And I really excelled at that.
Okay.
I then wrestled and went through the normal high school stuff. But then I had some of the other wrestlers that were older that really kind of took me under their wing and brought me along in that process. And at that point in time, you played football for 3 months, let's say 4 months max, and then you wrestled the other 8. You would wrestle.
Really?
You would wrestle for the school, and then you had clubs, or we would just, you jump in a car, drive 3 hours to a high school, sleep on the mats. You bring your sleeping bag, a little bit of food money, and you sleep in the gym, and then you get up all day and wrestle the people that you slept next to. Yeah, it was just.
You don't have spring football?
No, we didn't really have that.
Okay.
Didn't really have it. So that was what kept us in condition. And then we'd take a certain time off in the summer, and then you'd go back and work with my grandfather, baling hay and doing all the great things that.
You're just working your body.
You're just working your body.
I
spent very little time in the gym. You just worked. So anyway, that part went well. And then as a sophomore, I was allowed to play varsity.
Okay.
So it was me and one other freshman who didn't play. And I started, and it was a brutal experience. You're 15. These guys are 18 with beards.
Yeah.
And that was good. But then
you were just as big as most of them, weren't you?
Yeah, but I went back to that stage of not knowing it, right?
Yeah,
Where you're still like,
there's more experience.
Yeah. I'm not driving. My mom's still picking me up from practice. You still felt
They're driving up to the game with a baby seat in the back of the car.
All these guys, they got 3 kids in the stands. Yeah, it was it. But then the wrestling thing became my real big home.
Okay,
and that community was a big part of me. And then the guy that was multi-state champion in my weight class, 2 years older than me, big old Ralph, he'll be happy to hear this. What a bad man. I mean, wonderful person, just athletically gifted beyond.
Yeah, he was a stud.
He was like an Anglo Jim Thorpe, just perfect Adonis. But he told me that I was going to try out for choir.
What, the wrestler guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ralph had a beautiful voice.
Okay.
It reminds me of those guys from like the Philadelphia Eagles that made the Christmas album a few years ago. Beautiful voice.
Now I'm starting to question what's going on in wrestling practice, but go ahead.
Fair enough. And not just choir, like you're hiding with 60 people, but this swing choir, which is 12.
Okay.
And because Ralph says
you have a beautiful voice, Mark?
At the time, it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
It's like any muscle. You don't use it, you lose it. But
how did Ralph discover you had a beautiful voice at wrestling practice?
I don't think he gave a crap, George.
Okay.
He's like, I'm not going to be the only athlete in there. And then one town over that actually put out a lot of great athletes, all those guys sang in musicals, which was even weirder. All of them were D1s. They all sang in musicals. It was weird. But I joined
the water in Oregon in there.
Yeah, something going on. But so I had this a lot of dichotomy between the day of you're dressing up in a goofy, almost like a Jerry Seinfeld puffy white shirt, and you're in a group that both sang and had little, background dance things, and you're in nursing homes. And
you didn't
concerts.
Say you danced. You
danced.
I
moved my hands a lot.
Okay. All right.
So,
holy shit.
I contemplated sharing that with you. I got to tell you.
I appreciate you being honest.
Absolutely. It was an experience.
I'm sure. Do you feel like it made you a better rounded high school student?
I tell you what it did do, seriously, as in sales, if you want to stand up in front of a group of 10 or 20 or whatever, or several hundred, and sing a song solo, I might as well be naked in front of the audience.
Yeah.
Nothing intimidated me about public speaking.
Yeah.
Because
I definitely see that.
Yeah, that was a big deal. And we did it a lot. I mean, from Big Ralph, myself, and my younger brother, singing the national anthem before a wrestling tournament, which I really felt like softened the competition a bit to say, how tough could this guy be?
Yeah.
He's up there yodeling out.
Yeah.
Wearing a wrestling outfit, singing the national anthem. I'm just happy.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it got to the point you got to enjoy it. You got better at it. It's like anything you trained, and you were pretty good. And it was unique. You didn't see it at other places I went. And at this point, nobody was making fun of me.
Yeah, I bet.
Because now I had really grown into my body, and I had really excelled in wrestling. And so I won state championship like 14 in the age groups on. And the goal was you get older and people go away and you're top of the heap. And it all worked out well. But so anyway, I kept doing the choir thing, which was crazy, playing football, wrestling, doing all the normal high school stuff, working summer jobs when I could get away from my grandpa's
busy
farm.
Kid.
Yeah, you look back and, I mean, keeping teenagers busy is the best possible thing you can do. And I had no problem. No problem with that. And so
you were living in town, but you still went and helped Grandma and Grandpa?
Yeah, I didn't even think about it really, because it probably wasn't an option, but you
never looked at it that way.
Well, you got to spend more time with them. And I've always enjoyed that physical stuff. Yeah. Like, putting a ton of hay on a half-ton pickup and driving it up the mountain roads, which are really log roads.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'd do that. We'd move our cattle up in the summer because you had better grazing up there, and back down in the winter.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was just one of those life experiences.
And working
generationally, yep, and working out. You want to. People ask me, "Wow, you're so good at wrestling." I'm like, hold down a 35-pound pig while your grandfather changes his sexuality, and they're trying to bite your ear off and got 4 legs. I'm like, you can do that. This whole beating somebody up your size seems really easy.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all called it up there, but down here we called it country strong.
Country, yeah.
You didn't have to go hit the gym necessarily.
It definitely fell in that category.
Yeah, and there's guys like that that I was tangled with. There's something to that.
It's like a version of old man strength. But it all played out. So I went through high school, had a lot of success in both football and wrestling. Didn't make All-State. I was first team All-District, like second or third team All-State defensive line. Got a lot of attention from small colleges. All the directional schools, we call them, Western Oregon, Southern Oregon, Eastern Oregon. I mean, literally.
What sport did you like best?
I liked wrestling best.
Really? Yeah.
I tried to quit football my senior year and focus on wrestling because I hadn't won a state championship yet. And, I couldn't even go out for a hamburger at that point. I mean, the local dads heard about it, and then I'm like, I just said, I give. My friends put some peer pressure on me.
Were you out?
And I'm glad I did, because we had a really most successful season that school had ever had. And that was a lot of fun. And then I jumped into wrestling and then got to the finals of wrestling, and I got disqualified in the first match.
Really?
Yeah. I got all fired up because this kid, his cousin had just won the national championship in college. And I kind of thought it's like me wrestling him. And I got a little excited. I picked him up too high. I threw him down too hard and removed him of his consciousness, which turns out is illegal to do it a certain way. But
it sounds so tactful when you say it that way.
I didn't see it as rough as they did. And me and the referee had some conversations that required other people's involvement. So it knocked you out of, was this the that was my
final
that was
match
the last one for high
tournament?
School, but then I went on, and then you went to the summer, which is Greco-Roman and freestyle, which is the Olympic versions. And everybody who was in the top 6 came to every meet, and I beat them all to death and won state in both.
Didn't get DQ'd.
I was a little more careful, and the rules are a little more relaxed when it comes to that. So, but anyway, so I had
full-on body slam.
Oh yeah, I took that out of my repertoire. So but it did get a lot of attention from these small schools. But back then they were basically NAIA schools, which is I think D3 now, and you got a lot of money from financial aid, especially when you have 7 brothers and sisters, and then local
the small
Kiwanis clubs and stuff would sponsor you in a series of small scholarships. My only Division I scholarship offer was to Portland State.
Okay.
Neil Lomax was the starting quarterback at that point in time, which is like a name. He played for the Cardinals forever, but it's like that's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
But I went on my tour, and I'd never seen a one-way street.
You never what?
I'd never seen a one-way street before. I went out to Portland to tour, which is our big city at the time. Yeah. And I'd never seen a homeless person.
Okay.
And I'm walking, and there's a guy walking down the sidewalk. Me and my buddies, these bumpkin idiots or Letterman's jackets. I know the whole bit. And this guy's eating an ice cream cone. And I'm like, this guy, homeless guy, he's finally got enough money to buy something. He buys an ice cream cone. Then I realize he gets to me and it's just a stick of butter and he's just eating it. And I was like, I can't live here.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple other things that happened.
Your natural reaction would be to body slam him out the finger.
I'm like, or just run.
Yeah.
don't run the one way.
Chasing you with butter.
Yeah. So I chose one of the smaller schools, Willamette University, which is in Salem, state capital. Beautiful old school, oldest school west of Mississippi.
They make good wine up there too.
Yes, they do now. They didn't back then.
No wine back then.
No, but I went there to play.
So were
football.
you played football or wrestle?
Well, they had set me up with this combined financial package that was local sponsors and financial aid and stuff. And the idea was I would wrestle. I would play football and wrestle.
Okay.
Well, this is when I discovered that the high school I went to was a vocational high school.
Okay.
Nobody told me that, but the things that flash back to me now.
What does that mean to you like now? Is that because it was more of like a private high school, smaller?
No. So what it means is it was the only option you had if you lived in this town was you went to high school. But they realized like we started with 240 kids and we had like 180 graduate.
In your class?
In my class.
Yeah. That's decent size.
That's not bad, but that was because of dropouts, pregnancies. I mean, people didn't move. I mean, it was just, so they knew they had to educate you differently. So when you went to a shop class for mechanics, you took a car apart and built it.
You learned
when you went
real
to wood shop, you built a house.
Yeah.
And when you went to lumber, we had a tree. I mean, somebody cut down a 150-foot tree, took the limbs off it, put it 20 feet in the ground, and that's how they taught you how to climb to be a logger.
Useful skills.
In high school.
Yeah.
Let's just say trigonometry was not at the top.
Got it. Now I see where you're going. Okay,
academically, my first year was a little challenging.
Got it.
The first
you weren't
semester,
quite up to par with everybody else that may have gone to
I didn't make
different type schools.
That version of the dean's list. I did talk to the dean.
Okay. Was that a request to stay?
Yeah, it wasn't my intention. It wasn't my idea to have the appointment. So anyway, played football, had a good experience the first year. It was just low level stuff in terms of budget wise. And my freshman team was 75% Polynesian because all the coaches were Polynesian and they were able to recruit these kids. And they were the kids that BYU didn't want, USC didn't want, Oregon, Washington. Great athletes, probably not academically there or missing something, but they were grown men. I learned a lot about the Polynesian culture. It was great.
Okay.
And, but I decided I wasn't going to wrestle. And
that's interesting when you see more of that today.
Huge.
But
well, back then it was you played at UH or you didn't play. And once they started, the West Coast got them first because of proximity. These kids want to go home. They don't like the cold. They just didn't like the first many of them first
grew up on the beach
island.
And all of a sudden you're stuck in Oregon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't have coats. They didn't have shoes. They wore flip flops. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience. But it was a one. I realized I'm not going to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And wrestling, I didn't have any juice left physically. And I'd lost, I think I got there at my senior year, I played at 235 in high school. And I got there at about 250. And before I knew it, I was like 225. I mean, because they really trained you and had expectations. So anyway, I finished up the second half of that semester at Willamette and I ended up transferring to Oregon State. And that's where I eventually graduated from. But I had a buddy that was on the scout team for Oregon State and they were horrible. And I'm like, why? I don't even want a scholarship for that. And so I went to, I was very fortunate. Like I said, my high school wrestling coach was a legend. When I left high school, he had 300 dual meet wins and 2 losses. And he had a connection with the Oregon State coach, which is like the Iowa State or Oklahoma State of that part of the world.
Okay.
And so I went to them, went to the head coach and said, I don't want to be on the team, but I miss wrestling. So how about I show up 3 days a week? They had a guy that was on track to be a national champion and he needed somebody to beat the hell out of every day. So
that's what
I did for 3 years. I did that 3 days a week.
Really?
And it was fantastic. I stayed in fantastic shape.
Yeah.
We had some great friends. And Jim, the guy that was my daily getting beat up by he got second in the NC2As.
Okay.
And kind of an interesting offshoot. He lost to one of the Schultz brothers, who was the one that was killed at the DuPont estate. Remember that whole thing? The DuPont family built a wrestling campus on site of the DuPont estate. And it's called Foxcatcher. Is a movie. Steve Carell is the star in it. And
I know the movie. I haven't seen the movie. That's what
it's about. So he was a very, very strange man and had a lot of wrestlers around him for very weird reasons, but nobody sponsored wrestlers back then. And he came in one day of God knows what and shot several people and killed the guy who had beaten my friend.
Really?
It was crazy. Huh. So, but anyway, kind of muddled around school, had a lot of fun. Figured out I was an average student. In business there, you had three options. You could be an accountant, which was not me. You could be in marketing, which I could never figure out because I figured it's like picking up Jell-O. There was never an answer. Even when they gave me the answer, I'm like, that makes no sense to me. And then finance.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, so if my third grade teacher would have put a $sign on the left of the numbers, I would have smoked all of these classes. I finally figured out I know how to count money.
You can count money.
I know how to count money. And
okay.
I began to understand how P&L worked and what the levers were and what it meant and what debt meant, equity meant, and the stock market meant. I was like, all this stuff was going on in my head. And so I graduated with like a 3.2 in my concentration.
Okay.
It drugged the rest of mine up to like a 2.7 because they told me, I asked when I got there, I said, what's the minimum GPA you're going to have to get out of here? Because I just want to know the downside.
Yeah.
They said 2.5. I'm like, a 2.7 it is?
Okay. Done.
And I said, well, the second step was, do they print that on that diploma anywhere? No.
Nope.
Okay. What do they call the guy who graduates last from medical school?
Yeah, a doctor.
Doctor. Yeah. That's right. So, but I did figure that out. And that really was when I kicked in the wheels at school and started focusing and got done and worked my way through college. When I was in college, it was illegal to buy Coors in Oregon. It was they said it was because it was not pasteurized or something, but it was because Coors was non-union. Oregon's a union state. So they wouldn't allow it in. Eventually broke through. So the first day it became legal to buy Coors in Oregon, I was the Coors campus rep for Oregon State. To this day, maybe one of the best jobs I've ever had.
How did you get
a friend, a friend of mine had it for a different beer and he was transitioning to me and the rep the guy from the distributor sets me down and says, hey, nobody knows this, but here's what's happening with Coors. And I'm thinking, I'm going to make a killing. And I did. My salary was a little excessive. It was $250 a month.
Okay.
But I got to buy Coors t-shirts for cheap, like $2.
Okay.
And sell them to the college kids with all the house dance things for the fraternities and sororities printed on. Yeah. That Christmas, my mom thought I was selling drugs at school. I'm like, no.
So you were making your money off the t-shirts?
Making my money off t-shirts, a lot of it.
Who were you? Were you selling to like bars?
No, I go to fraternities and sororities and just say, hey, they had their quarterly, seasonal house dance, a big party.
Yeah.
And
call them swaps or whatever.
Yeah. And that was, they called them back then was house dance.
Yeah.
And then my daughter got to Alabama. She started using that word. I was troubled for a while.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I like house dance better than swap. But
it's a Southern thing.
It's a Southern thing. But anyway,
I'm sure there is some swapping going on.
I'm sure. I would hope it's college. And anyway, I would sell these t-shirts at mass volume to them at mass profit. And that's when.
So they sold you the t-shirts
for $2.
But what were you? It was just a branding campaign.
They sold me the t-shirts because I had access to the Coors. You couldn't just, there wasn't an eBay or an Etsy or nothing online.
Right.
To get the Coors t-shirt, you had a friend in California that sent you one. So I would be able to have access. And then I would go to them and they would say, hey, give me
So it really didn't have anything to do about selling beer?
Well,
for you?
Well, it was a byproduct because I was selling beer to the fraternities to buy for the keg parties.
Okay. Oh, you were selling some beer.
Yes. I was selling the beer. That was the $250. I got paid for that.
Got it.
T-shirts gave me access to something
$250 a month.
Then I found a screening guy.
Yeah.
And the house dance people would give me their designs of what they wanted on the back of their shirts. They had the silver bull on the front.
Yeah.
I put, whatever the house dance thing was.
And it was a cool new thing, so everybody wanted one.
Everybody wanted one.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
And to this day, I don't know if I walked around with that much cash.
Good for you. That's awesome.
It was good. Got us through school and then
young entrepreneur.
Yep. Graduated. It was Oregon that time this is mid 80s, early 86. And it was not very prosperous. And so after a few months of looking for a job, I was in line to get a job. I was on a final interview for Anderson Windows, which was a really good job. You start out working in the field, evolves to a sales rep. The money was crazy for the time. It was $30K base. And for the last 20 years, every employee in the company had gotten 100% bonus of their salary.
Okay.
So $60K.
Yeah.
Nobody in my family had ever made $60K. But so I was up for the last interview, and my uncle, the football guy, said, hey, he's living in Huntington Beach. Why don't you come down, look in Orange County? My brother was already living there. It's a long story. But so I'm like, I'll come down and just take a look. So I came down. On a Sunday, my brother picks me up at LAX. We drive to the beach. He's got his 62 Impala, so we really fit into certain neighborhoods there.
Yeah, I bet.
And I get the Orange County Register. I open it up to the help wanted ads, which is how you find a job.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at sales, and there were 4 pages of sales jobs. So I called the guy I was interviewing with and said, unless you guarantee me Orange County, I mean, I'm at the beach, and unlike Oregon, I'm not wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
There's beautiful girls everywhere.
It's sunny.
I'm 22
not raining.
At the time.
Yeah.
And I see all these jobs. I'm like, he's like, you don't know what you're walking away from. He was maybe right, maybe not. I'm like, I'm not leaving this place ever.
Yeah.
And so I went out and got a job with Enterprise Rent-A-Car in their management training program. And base was $16,500. Turns out you can't live on that in California even then.
A little haircut.
Yep. And then the 8th day of me working there, this guy walks into Rent-A-Car. And he's like, what are you doing here? And granted, it was actually a great management program. If you could tolerate the first couple of years, and years 3 or 4, you could make 100, but it was a hard job.
Yeah.
And he's like, call me. So I called the guy, and he's like,
oh, in a positive way.
In a positive way. He's like, but he's looking at me.
I
like,
thought she was about to rip your ass out or something because you messed up his rental car.
Well, probably Jerry might have done
sure that happened
later.
too.
Oh, yeah. So I go interview with them, and it was vending for apartment laundry.
Okay.
And I really didn't care what he said after he told me the salary, and it was like $30,000 in commission. And I'm like, dude, whatever you want me to do.
Vending for apartment laundry.
So out in California, the era most of the apartments were built, you didn't have laundry in your apartment.
Okay.
It was centralized. And that's a massive business to put the machines in.
Uh-huh.
So it's just think of it as like a laundromat for apartments.
For apartment. Okay. Got it.
And so we owned the machines and, collected the money. And, well, this guy hires me as a salesman. I wasn't very good, honestly. I hadn't had a lot of sales training, but I'm working hard and I'm trying to figure it out. And I didn't realize the ownership of the organization. Wasn't very cultured coming from Oregon. So I didn't really understand this guy named, what's the last name, like Polino. I'm sure he's long gone now. Say his name.
Yeah.
He had been placed in that business from a business in Baltimore.
Uh-huh.
That CEO was under investigation by the SEC, and so he's hiding this guy.
Got it.
Not to turn evidence against him, and so you're in this business. It makes about $12 million a year, which was not a lot, but about a lot back then, all in quarters. And the guy tells me, "Hey, I got to go. I'm promoting you to sales manager." And he's like, better than that, I'm just going to promote you to president of the company. I'm like, I've been here 8 months. I don't know anything about anything. And so I ran the business. I mean, the next person to my age was probably 35. I'm 23. And most people are 50 or 60. He just liked me. And
I was saying, what was it about you?
I was the only one with an education.
Okay. You said you're not very good at sales.
Well, I
wasn't pretty good with numbers, at least with dollar signs, right?
Yep. And I wasn't. I thought I needed help training on the sales side, but it wasn't to be had there. But so I ran this
laundry
business.
Money.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
When the couple of guys bought the company.
Great business to do something like that. Not that I would know.
Well, the 2 guys who bought it, I won't say their names, but they were Jewish Italians.
Okay.
Wonderful people. But I got caught. They're from Chicago. So their uncle Adolf, think about that one for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The Jewish guy named Adolf was in charge of counting the money.
Yeah.
I think 1 here, 2 here, 1 there, 3 there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I end up hiring a salesperson. I know. Who was my college roommate. He comes in and works for us for a while, and he's like, this is for me.
Well, real quick, how hard is it to sell laundry products that are a need in an apartment complex?
You'd be amazed. It's very competitive. There's a guy in LA.
Okay.
There's a guy out in LA that easily.
So you're putting the machines in, and you front the machine, or your company fronts the machines, and
you front the machines, you repair them, they pay utilities, and then you have a split on the revenue, which they have to trust you on. And a lot of times you pay them up front, and that's the way to sell it. But the guy who was the big king out there, easy multi-billionaire now.
Really?
Not just because it gave him cash to do other things as well.
Yeah.
But very, very wealthy guy. But anyway, my college roommate was working for me. He went out and said, I'm going to find something else. He was sleeping on my couch at the time, which I thought would be a great idea so we could start paying rent.
Mm-hmm.
And he found this startup that did medical recruiting. They recruited doctors for hospitals. Mm-hmm. And I met him for lunch one time, and I was like, okay, they're in a nice office building, which I wasn't. Everybody's dressed really sharp, think, late 80s in LA. Everybody's got the big double breadths of suits, wide shoulders. And they were all my age bracket. And I'm like, I don't know what they do, but this is the environment I thought I should be in.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't know what it was. And so I left that job, making more money. I took a 50% pay cut to take the job. But I'm like, this is for me. I think I can figure it out. And so what they did was they had a group that would go out and sell to hospitals, mostly in small towns at the time, who needed a physician, and they would agree to a fee. And then guys like me would come in then and meet with them, travel to all these small towns, and then come back and work to find them physicians that were interested and interviewed, and eventually took the job. And I thought I was good quickly at wrestling. I was a duck to water. It was like I was the third employee hired, second recruiter hired, and I was beating everybody by the first 6 months. I had more placements, more everything. It was just everything they wanted to train me on just seemed like pure logic.
Was this kind of maybe not early on headhunting, but essentially
straight up headhunting,
but specific?
Fees were different. We didn't get the percentages that executive search firms got. Which at that time, a lot of hospitals were owned by the community.
Yeah. And
then you had the doctors' hospitals group that started when physicians went out and started their own.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had HCA out of Nashville, Hospital Corporation of America, which was really the early on for-profit arms. So early on, there wasn't the money for that. You go to a small hospital and you say, you're paying this neurosurgeon $500. You're not going to give me $150,000 fee.
Yeah.
So we learned to make it into a volume business. So I started that in 88. Right before then, on a Sunday afternoon, in a cool little pub that's still there in Newport Beach, I met my wife. On her first weekend, she moved from South Dakota to Southern Cal.
Okay.
Janelle. So she was there that full ride. I think we dated for probably 5 months before I, quit my job and took this one. So
okay.
She got to see that whole thing. So it was a crazy ride. You just worked as, we had 2 nights till 10 o'clock, regular start times in the morning, traveled like crazy. And I couldn't get enough of it.
Nice.
It was phenomenal.
And you were good at it.
I was good at it. And it was probably the thing I'd been best at of anything I ever tried. And they paid me.
Yeah.
And it was a lot more than the $250.
Yeah.
So, at least in my mind it was. And so, the guy who was training me, who was awesome, we were very, very different guys, but he really did an excellent job training me and was probably the best recruiter I've ever seen in my life. He's still doing it to this day. And I still think he's the best. He comes to me and said, hey, the guys who started this company had came from a larger company in the Midwest, and they moved out to LA because they had friendly non-compete laws, and they started there. But the whole idea was to work your way back across the country and build this up to a national organization. So the guy who trained me came to me and said, hey, we've got an opportunity. We're going to move you and I to Atlanta. And this guy happened to be from Atlanta, and we're going to open the Atlanta office and start from scratch. So granted, at this point, Jill and I were now engaged.
Okay.
And she got to California about 4 years behind me. She was living with her sister who was finishing her residency in physiatry. And one of the first things when we got serious, she's like, I never want to leave here. I'm like, I'll never have you leave here. So I tell this guy, I'll go. Absolutely, I'll go. And then I had to go back and, of course, explain to Janelle, that thing I mentioned about staying here forever? Well, we get a job, and it changed over time, but we ended up
moved to Atlanta.
He moved to Atlanta. So I take her to Atlanta that Valentine's Day, and what's it do? it snows. How many times does it snow in Atlanta? Not often.
Lot, but
so I had to battle through that. But as part of it,
did she? I mean, well, I know where you ended up.
You know where you ended up. So yeah,
I guess
so
she stuck with your ass.
She acquiesced. So, but the process was we leave Southern California, we moved to Dallas, which we'd already moved to corporate headquarters there now. So we leapfrogged that, and they say stay in Dallas for 6 months and then move to Atlanta. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we got to Dallas for 6 months, and we moved on New Year's Eve. Now leave Orange County, leave John Wayne Airport, palm trees and sun, and land in Dallas on New Year's Eve. It's not quite the same.
Yeah.
Love Dallas, love it a lot, but not quite the same. So we went there for 2.5 years, went there for 6 months. We ended up staying 2.5 years because it kept getting pushed to start the new office.
Oh, okay.
My daughter Ashton was born there. Loved Dallas, loved everything about it. It's just the only thing it doesn't have is a beach. Wonderful economy, great business environment. The weather's a little crazy, but anyway, loved it.
But yeah.
So we finally got to move to Atlanta. That was been the pilgrimage the whole time. So we got there.
There's no beach there either.
No there, but it's a lot closer to this one.
Okay. I'm just checking.
Well, in the meantime there, before we left Dallas, I had 4 tickets awards on Delta that were use it or lose it tickets.
Okay.
So we had they were expiring April 1st, let's say. So it was March 1st. I'm like, okay, we got to scramble. So I got my wife, who's 7 months pregnant with Ashton, whose doctor says you can go, but you shouldn't go. So she came. And then I had a golf buddy. And then my kid's kind of adopted uncle came. And we decided we can go anywhere on these tickets. We picked Destin.
Really? Okay.
Now then it's Delta. So you fly to Atlanta down. And I got Southern Living magazine out and looked through the back. And you used to call, right? And I get the Sandestin Resort and the penthouse is available for what seemed like nothing at the time.
Yeah.
So we come down, we all flew in, we're excited. You see the beaches when you land. I'm like, oh my God, how did I not hear about this place? This is 1993.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to check in the room. I open the door. I stop it because everybody kind of bumps. It's like a Three Stooges saying, bump into me. I'm like, everybody remember, this was all my idea. So we open it. It's 2-story glass, sunset. And
were you one of West Wind's buildings or something?
Yeah, one of the Beach Tower 1.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
And so I don't think there may or may not have been in 2 at that time. I don't know.
Maybe, but there's only so many of them that have those 2-story type penthouses.
I know. And so we walk in and they see this, and then
and
pretty much from that day forward, the idea was, how do we come up with enough money to get a house down here?
Yeah.
So we moved to Atlanta. Bought a house in the suburbs. My son Caden was born. Built a gorgeous home. And it was in the perfect cul-de-sac. Everybody else was same age group, same kind of situation. Met some friends, friends for life. And Janelle tells me, never make me move from here. And I say, I won't. Credibility should be questioned at some point on this. So we build that office and really build it into something pretty special. And so the namesake of the company had called me and just said, hey, let's grab dinner next time you're in Dallas, which now I know what that means. Back then I didn't.
Yeah.
We just going to dinner. He's like, I want you to come back and run everything. I'm like, yes, I'll do that. So I go home, and it took a lot to explain to my wife. Now we were really settled.
Yeah.
That we were given.
How long were you in Atlanta?
7 years.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was phenomenal. And we were the first ones to leave. And I guess I can share that story. It's pretty funny. I finally got enough guts. We had finished our basement. I had the big media room with this gigantic television that, size of my truck, it seems like now.
Yeah.
Friday nights or Saturday night was kind of date night thing. Kids go to bed, make a nice dinner, watch a movie. That was kind of the routine. Well, I had been stalling for weeks to tell her that we were moving. A lot of balls in motion.
Yeah.
And, so we finally get down there, and I had no more time left. I had to tell her.
Key part of the puzzle there, Mark.
You've been married a while. You know how this works.
Yeah.
So I get down there.
For something like that, but okay.
I know how long ago this was.
Let me see how this worked out for you, okay?
Yes. Yeah, I tell her now. Yeah. But the interesting one was, what got her attention, tells you how long ago it was, is when I opened the second bottle of wine. that's not such an attention getter today.
Yeah.
But then it was.
What's
We're
the big
downstairs.
deal?
She looks at me. She goes, "You are nervous." I'm like, "I'm a little." She goes, "What's going on?" And I'm trying to tell her, but I know it's going to be short term, crushing to her. And I said, "I've got something to tell you." And she looks at me. She goes, "You're having an affair." I go, "What?" He's really going to have this. And then she said, "Oh, you're having an affair with X, who's my best friend and a man."
Whoa.
And he happens to, that it wouldn't be impossible, right? Let's just say. I'm like, "What?" I said, "No, we're moving to Dallas." She goes, "That's worse."
Jesus.
And she ran upstairs.
I'm still hung up on the fact you said that wouldn't be impossible, but we'll just breeze over that.
I was just saying it's my kid's uncle.
Oh, okay.
If you
got it.
It's uncle-ish.
Got it.
Still dear friend.
Yeah.
And
so she thought moving to Dallas was worse than you having an affair with a man. Okay. All right.
Or a woman for that matter.
Okay.
But
I'm going to bring that up at the appropriate time.
Please do. She'll get a kick out of it, I think. It's been a while. I said, "No, we're moving to Dallas." She runs up 2 flights of stairs, locks me out of the bedroom, first time ever. And so we go to church the next day. We're at Mass, and we're Catholic at that point, up and down. And I look at her,
problems.
And everybody has to think I'm beating my wife. I mean, she's bawling.
At church?
Church, bawling. I'm like, "Oh my God, tell people." And we couldn't tell everybody we're leaving yet. So, we went through all that. But the first thing I did is got her on a plane, took her to Dallas, said, "This is the neighborhood you can live in."
Okay, yeah.
So she said, "Okay, we're good." So it took a little while. So we lived in Dallas, raised our family there.
How old were the kids when y'all moved?
4 and 8.
Okay. So
4 and 8.
Not super ingrained.
Yeah, my daughter could care less. She negotiated a swing pool and a disco ball. Mom had already got the pool, so all I had to do was get a disco ball. For an 8-year-old, she was
your
happy.
daughter, that makes sense.
My son, he has deeper relationships. He's still
at 4.
At 4, that's him.
I love him to death, but
he did not like leaving.
Really? That's interesting.
And everything was fine. We moved. The house wasn't ready, of course. The apartment wasn't ready, of course. We're in like a Summerfield Suites Residence Inn thing, and we go to check in. Caden's on the pull-out because he's 4. Ashton's got her own little room, and we're in this little 2-bedroom kind of extended stay thing. And she is so excited because Ashton moves in. She unpacks all of her clothes like we're going to live there forever. Turns the TV on. She's so excited. 30 seconds later, she comes out of the room bawling. She goes, "We can't live here. We have to go home." I'm like, "Not you. I just finally got my brother's over here a mess. Your mom finally is not mad at me for all this." She's like, "Dad, we can't move here. I can never learn to speak Texan." I'm like, "What's going on, honey?" I go in her room. She's hit the SAP button. So everything on TV is in Spanish.
That's awesome.
So anyway, we built a great life there. But we were here every year.
Yeah.
At least once, if not twice. We traveled to the beach. It was always our goal. We built the company up pretty large.
So what was your position?
I was
at this point.
I was over all physician perm placement, so like the executive search part. But we'd also built a locum tenens business, which is temporary. Locum tenens means stand-in Latin. And temporary doctors for the month, by the week, whatever. And that's a real big business. A lot more reoccurring revenue. Okay. And then we built a small nurse business. We built an allied business. We tried a lot of different things, but it turned into a sizable enterprise. And then we had a nurse staffing company that was public come along and eventually buy us. It was a long process.
I saw a picture of you at the stock exchange. Did y'all go public, or was that the purchase?
So that was after the purchase years later.
Okay.
When they went public originally before us, they didn't. The company was called AMN, but it was that ticker wasn't available, and they ended up with AHS. So that's when AMN became available. We bought the ticker and redid the thing on the stock exchange, which was a very cool thing for me. But nonetheless, we sold, so that was a good day.
Yeah,
I had Go stock. So if we ever sold, I got something that changed my life. If we didn't, or I quit, I got zero. That was very binary.
Okay.
So tolerated a lot, put up with a lot, hung around a lot. So I gave them, when we sold the company, I said,
were you in the namesake on good terms?
One of them for sure. The other one, was I learned a ton from, but the relationship as it was had run its cycle.
Yeah.
And so the other one I stayed very close with, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am without either one of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But in all those years in between, there were 3 junior partners ahead of me, and me, the uncle, and one other friend had replaced those guys. So now we're in like a junior partner status. So it meant a lot to us. So I told.
Were you running the company? Were they?
Yeah, I was running that.
Yeah.
So we went from we were private. So selling to public, gave us that immediate hit. They did it a mix of cash and stock, so you got some of the upside. And we'd been through some cycles.
Yeah.
I was hired a few months after the crash of '87.
But you said you were one of the first 5 employees.
Yeah, I was one of the first. There were 5 first partners, and then I was one of the first. I was employee number 3.
Okay.
But I replaced those. Maybe that was a strategy, maybe not. But we ended up in those roles. And so,
I see what you're saying.
Yes,
you took
some sharper elbows.
I got you.
And a lot of
you took the place of 3 out of the 5 original.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we got that settled.
I'm a little slow
anyway,
today.
that's all right. So
I'm distracted. Ole Miss plays tonight.
Hey, I'll be watching and rooting.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So anyway, we sold the company. I had met the CEO, this lady, a couple years younger than me, tiny peanut of a person, insane athlete, very competitive.
Different company.
The company that we sold to.
Oh, got it.
It's
okay.
The nursing company. And I said, she sets the people that are going to stay around, she said, how long will you stay? Because it wasn't, I thought it was enough money to retire. It wasn't. I was a W-2 employee, so you can probably do some math on that. That made a difference in that. And I thought it was enough to retire. It was enough to retire for a while. It would have been a huge mistake, both in terms of money and lifestyle.
Yeah.
I don't need all day to drink gin and tonics. I go to work, get something done.
Yeah, this is what the afternoon's for.
So I said, I'll stay a year. And I stayed 13.
Okay.
And principally, I will say the money was way different than I thought it would be. I just thought you had to be in a private company to make money. And maybe her first. She was an incredible leader, taught me an insane amount. And she also learned I like doing fun stuff. So she would be the reason I'm standing on the stock exchange. And a lot of other of those kind of experiences I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And so I stayed 13 years, and retiring was hard because of people who worked for me 20 years, but just as hard because of, having to tell her no, that I was going to make a change. So I let him know when I was 55 that I'll take as long as you want to replace me, which I didn't realize it would take quite that long.
They drug their feet a little bit?
A little bit. And
you're in Dallas at this point.
At that point, I'm in Dallas.
But you by this point, you had a place here or at the beach?
We bought our first place in 2006.
Okay.
Because I really thought after 2005, it can't get any worse.
Yeah.
Needless to say.
Yeah.
I learned that.
It did.
It got a lot worse.
I was here, just like you.
Yep.
Or sort of.
Instead of running from that, I'm always a dollar cost buy kind of a guy. So once the market crashed is when I bought the land for my next house.
Yeah. Good move.
Made it up. Made it up big time.
You're going to dig out of that hole.
Somehow, double down, just keep going. So,
I just threw a stick of dynamite in the hole.
Yeah, that was it. So, but we made that transition, and then I retired in, it'll be February 1st, will be 7 years. So in 19.
Good for you, brother.
But along there, our son, who, as you know, had a lot of opportunities depending on what college he wanted to go to. And, my wife had told me, she said, when he goes to high school, we'd already built what we thought was our forever house. The one you would be aware of in Gulf Dunes.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can't let that house sit by itself. I'm moving. I don't want to be in the suburbs anymore. Well, this is 16.
Right.
It worked its way to, it was 16. So.
But he's still in high school.
He's in high school, but as he finishes high school, he goes on a senior trip. And Caden has had 1 bedroom since he's 4. I'm like, pick out what you want, because everything else, either give it away, go into the beach. But, our primary residence won't be here anymore. So he went to college, went off for football that summer. Janelle became full-time at the beach. And I lived in a high-rise during the week for 2 years and just commuted just to finish up my career.
Nice.
And that worked out well. And then I made the permanent move, and it'll be 7 years.
Good for
you.
you.
Crazy. So.
What is, I talk about different things on this real estate. You've listened to some of Mark, and was glad you were willing to come on. I could see you definitely, that lady inspired you that you worked for. What was it about her leadership skills that you?
She was very much a small town girl. Dad was a butcher and absolutely nowhere, Nebraska, and came in as basically worked in accounting. I worked all the way through the company. And she knew I had done something similar, not quite as significant, and really good at making personal connections and focused on your development, and really, I think, understood sometimes more about you than you knew, or more about what your potential could be. And so always laying challenges in front of me, and giving me freedom to be able to do the things. I was the very odd business. Everything else was staffing. So you find a nurse, you find a doctor, you put them on assignment. And if they get on assignment, then you bill and you get paid a certain amount. In my business, I went out, asked for 50% of the money up front, and then went out to find somebody for them, and then got the rest of the money when we were successful. So it's a very different kind
when you say ask for 50%, you like asked the hospital, they needed a ER doctor for a month.
Well, so you had the locums, which is temporary for that month. Okay, got it. But I was the permanent guy. So let's say my fee's $40,000. I need 20 of it now.
Okay.
Just meeting.
So you were the headhunter.
I'm the headhunter.
And you had a whole department under you.
Yep. We had 30 some in business development. I had 100 recruiters.
Damn.
We had another dozen inside callers that would help support the recruiters, and then probably another 20, 30 admin back office, not include, everything else was centralized in accounting and what have you. So
what was in all because that's a pretty diverse spectrum or area, whatever you want to call it. Do you like going and closing the deal better? Do you like the management part of it? What did you like what you thought?
Yeah, the first part was getting the doctor, first, not to hang up on you.
No.
And I always used to get a big kick out of this. I'm like, you're making, now granted, there's, the numbers have changed a lot over the years, as you might imagine. But let's say, I'm saying you're making $200,000 as an orthopedist in this town. My job starts at $500,000. So you're mad at me for calling you and saying, do you want to make $500,000? Is that why you're mad at me?
Yeah.
I just want to understand.
Pretty easy pitch. You just got to get it out and get them not to hang up on you, right?
So, yes.
I would say no call for cold calls an easy pitch,
and then that whole world has changed now. Pretty much everybody is just online. But that part I really enjoyed, because I didn't. What people around me sometimes describe as conflict, I don't think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if somebody were boxing. If you're the guy with your eyes closed, you're going to get pummeled. Right?
Yeah.
You see people that have been in conflicts, they don't blink.
Yeah.
And when people get uncomfortable, that's where you like salespeople back away. And it's not to be obnoxious, to be helpful, friendly, outgoing, do all these things, but not be worried about it when someone tells you no.
Yeah.
I remember my first training, that the guy who was the namesake and major owner of the company, he's listening to tape our conversations we have with people.
Oh, yeah, okay.
With physicians, to be able to give you constructive criticism and make fun of you a little bit too. And he listens to my first tape. He puts it on hold and he laughs so hard. I'm like, all right, let's just remember you're about half my size and we're just barely across the table.
Yeah.
I know you pay my salary, but I'm not going to be insulted. And he's like, he had a rule. You'd take 7 no's. Right. There's a lot of sales training back then. School stuff. He's like, that doctor has told you no like 7 times. You've not heard any of them, because you have no idea how well this is going to serve you down the road. And the reality is, no one takes a job, and these were all moving jobs, and typically a big distance. No one takes a job unless they want to, unless it makes their life better. But if you get somebody to listen for a little bit, I'm saying, hey, you're living in the place you want to live. Let's say it's Orlando. And you're an internist at the time making $150,000. But like, you got $400,000 of loan debt. This job, which is not where you want it to be, probably has good bird hunting or good whatever.
Yeah.
Not the things you're looking for. Over X number of years, we'll forgive half of your loan for you and add 70% to your income, which if you take that money away, you'll be debt free in 5 years.
Yeah.
So 5 years here, live anywhere you want. Have no debt. This debt's going to burden you for the rest of your life. And that's when the finance part kicked in, because you really help people understand what the time value of money means and what this debt's going to look like. It's not going to go away. They're not going to forget about it. You've got to take care of it. And then the other one, it's always
good selling technique.
Well, it's just help people define the difference between what they want and what they need.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? When you go, do you ski? Yes, I ski. Where do you go? They pick a place. I don't ski. So Breckenridge, Steamboat, something. Like when you were skiing, how many other physicians did you meet when you were there? Oh, lots. Were any of them from Steamboat? Or any of them live in Aspen? No. Because the guys in Aspen, it's super competitive. You're working your tail off.
Yeah.
There's no time for that. But those people who did that, maybe they made their money, kind of like here, made their money somewhere else and then came here.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love it.
That part I loved. That was a big part of it.
Good for you. Yeah. All right. So your son moves out of the house and still baffling to me goes to the University of Stanford.
Yeah. And
you're not, you retire fully when he was in college?
He was junior, so he redshirted his freshman year.
Did you go to every game when you were working?
I missed one game, and it was Hurricane Michael.
Okay.
And it was a Washington State. I just couldn't figure out. That's the only time I've seen a hurricane that close, and then how to get there. My wife wouldn't leave. The dogs.
Did you leave?
We ended up going to Tuscaloosa at the last minute.
Oh, you could have come over to my house.
I didn't know you then.
We rode out.
But it got our attention. It looked like it was coming up Bellevue Heights at the time.
Yeah.
So that's the only game I've ever missed.
Okay.
I haven't missed. He and I would come here when he was in 5th grade, and there was a guy, Tony Casillas. He was a defensive lineman for the Cowboys. He lived in our little town and started a football league, and Caden played in that league. We were here. We would fly back for the game, and then minute that's over, with this 12-year-old stinky boy, get back on the plane and come back.
Really?
Yeah. But we never missed a game.
That's awesome. I knew that for the most part, but it's just impressive to me.
I couldn't find something else that was better to do, was more important than.
Yeah, well, of course that's important, but most parents can't make every game because you went to away games too.
Yes, we did.
It's not like you were.
And,
plus the home games, you had to go to freaking Stanford.
And he survived.
Yeah.
Stanford and graduated.
Tough being a conservative young man at the University of Stanford.
If he wouldn't have worn a certain T-shirt on the Tuesday after the 2016 election on campus that just had big old Trump on the front, it probably would have been easier. But he had a
target on his back.
He had a couple folks that didn't share his opinion, mostly little people on the gymnastics team screaming at him.
Yeah.
And so he came into the coach's office. He didn't come in. They drug him in and said, "You can't wear that T-shirt." He's like, he's got his degree now, so they can't take it away. It's like, he said, "You know what, Coach?" He said, "Nick Saban would have never said that to me."
Yeah. Absolutely right.
Anyway, he ended up having a great career. And,
yeah. That's awesome.
Established some boundaries.
Yeah.
Now he definitely had some great stories for me. That was a very interesting place to go to school.
Well, they're great kids. Y'all done a great job. I say the kids. I feel sound like an old man, but he's a grown ass man. So is your daughter. So what are you doing now? Since you said you're retired, but then we were talking before, you're so damn busy, you don't know what to do yourself. Trying to steal my assistant and everything.
That's right. She's not going to want to do this stuff, I promise. But no, I had some things lined up a little bit. I just wanted to do nothing for a while. So we traveled a lot the first year. Like the first thing we did was just get out of the country for the first couple of months. We took 2 or 3 trips. You did the Europe thing, the beach thing. We'd always spend a lot of time in Cabo. One of my friends from the business and one of the namesakes has an incredible home there. And he was generous enough to spend time there. And then I made my first trip to Colombia, and started getting involved down there with a friend who had opened a fruit business you've met.
Yep.
It started in coconuts and evolved to limes, and it's grown into a very significant business at this point. Not without challenges. We're both growing a good portion of what we sell, but we also then go out and buy from other growers. But we got into a massive national retailer, which helped the business greatly.
Nice.
And you wouldn't believe how many people buy limes.
Yeah. I like them in my vodka.
Well, I think we're like the number 3 from this massive retailer, and we're at about almost 10 million limes a month or something crazy like that.
That's awesome, Mark.
So I've on the periphery of some of the things, I fill an advisory role, obviously an investor. So that's been great. We spent a lot of time down there. Love Colombia. Right now it's a little shaky with their next door neighbors, but
well, that's just to ask you. So, pre, us, removing a president here of recent, but before that, and I guess knowing a little about what you guys do or got into, did any of the Trump stuff, tariff talks affect you guys?
If we could muzzle the guy who's currently president of Colombia, that would be helpful.
Okay.
But it hasn't been as significant because when you do shipping is a big cost to the product. Then you got the boxes and you got the sorting and delivery and getting it out of the jungle, basically. So there are a lot of costs that aren't tariffable, if you will.
Yeah.
So they just tariff just the fruit. So we pick up a small percentage of that, which has been positive, as long as that the president down there doesn't continue what he's doing and just antagonizing Trump, which maybe shouldn't be a big deal, but it is.
Yeah.
So
you saw how that worked out for, as you said, the neighbor.
Yeah. We saw that coming when he was elected. It's very ironic. I think I'd best describe him as like a younger Bernie Sanders, a little kind of a socialistic mindset. Oddly enough, first thing he was going to do is get rid of all the oil, because Colombia puts out a lot of oil and a lot of coal, tremendous amount of coal. And he was going to get rid of that. And they figured out it was 75% of the GDP. So he changed his mind. But the odd thing is his last name is Petro, which I've always found kind of ironic.
Yeah, for sure.
You hate everything oil-based, but that's it.
Yeah.
There's a family out of Alabama that owns the largest coal mine in Colombia and the only railroad.
Really?
Yes. Oh,
that's interesting.
They're
I'm sure.
Significant wealth. So we've navigated that. That's been a lesson. Didn't know outside of what I grew up with, anything about farming. But we had a lot of
sell yourself short. Y'all had crops.
We'd had small ones, but a little different than these.
Yeah.
But down there,
$10 million a month, you think, and our trees.
But you're in Armenia, which is next to Cali. And, like you, I've watched all the Netflix shows. And my wife is like, we're going where?
Yeah.
And we're doing what?
I've heard beautiful things about that. Unless you watch Narcos.
But it's good to know that was like 30 years ago, which there's still footholds, and it's not perfect, but
well, I thought all that was in Venezuela now.
Some of it, but there's Southern Colombia still got its stuff going on. We started the coconut farm. The guys turned out you can't it was organic, and you can't have an organic farm in Colombia. Some things they pay no attention to. Other things, down to the detail, they have to be originally from Colombia. The only place those existed were in South Colombia, a place you don't want to be, especially as a gringo.
Wait, but you can't call it organic, or you can't.
They're not allowed to call it organic unless it's sourced from a nut that started in Colombia.
Okay.
That's the way it was sold to me, at least. So these guys went down to South Colombia. Not a great place, especially if you look like me. You're a foot and a half taller than everybody in lily white.
Yeah.
And they went and dug out canoes to this island. I've got pictures of this. They stacked the nuts on a dugout canoe. I mean, what was it?
They made the canoe?
They made the canoe.
Yeah.
And stacked the nuts so that canoe is barely holding the water, and then brought these to shore. They got into trucks, took them to the farm, and
for your farm.
Mm-hmm.
So you could call it organic.
Yeah, because we started the farm from zero. It was a cow pasture before.
Okay.
So, those guys, the pictures they sent me, I'm like, I'll do a lot of things I will not.
Yeah, I'm not going down there for that.
No, it was, so they went through a lot, and then they got into the lime business, and that really went crazy.
So the tariff, and I'm intrigued by it because there's so much noise out there. You're one removed from, or not really even one removed. You're a partner in something as an American exporting from Colombia. Did the tax go up coming into the United States, even though is it an American company?
It has an American base. We've got, there's multiple levels to the way it's organized. You've got Colombian operations, but the money stays here.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're selling to U.S. companies.
You're selling to U.S. companies.
Here. You move money back when you need to. You wouldn't believe how hard it is, or maybe you would believe how hard it is to move money into the country.
I have.
out of it, I get
from real estate deals.
It's a challenge.
Yeah. Columbia is special in its own little right.
You learn ways. There's ways around this.
Yeah. You watch the movie Blow with suitcases?
Yeah, that's one way. Yeah. I do see a lot of flights from Minneapolis to parts of Africa right now.
Yeah, there
same
you go.
thing with suitcases full of money. But the tax part hasn't been horrible yet. I mean, the principle of the business is that you operate in pesos and you sell in dollars. That's the win.
Okay.
And it depends on what the FX is on the exchange. Some days it's great. Some days it's okay. And then we pay above market, which is still not a ton, but provides a great lifestyle. I've been on the farms, met the people, not a lot of dialogue.
You take care of the workers.
Yes.
Better than the most.
So they have a standard, and you just be above that standard. And, be nice to these people. They're working hard. They have families. A lot of the times the workers come on, they live on the farm during the week and go back to their families. You've got, I might imagine there's a very religious contingent there, largely Catholic. So when it comes to Christmas, we go all out and the giveaways and the stuff and with the children. And it's really cool to see. I've had a chance.
And you've been.
I've been to many of the farms.
Yeah.
And like I say, it was the big ones in Armenia, which we're starting to buy in Cali, which was originally cocaine, then became coffee. And that's a great place to grow limes because it's all tiered. It's all, like wine. It's in different appellations.
Yeah.
So you got year-round picking or close you can get to it. But yeah, I remember I took my son Caden down and Janelle and Ashton have been there as well. But they go to the beach town. When it comes to go to the farms, Caden and I, the look on their faces when you walk around a lime tree and there's some guy picking it who's 5'4", and he sees the two of us, he's like, I didn't know what he was saying.
Yeah.
And it turns out
it's giant.
Because it's mountain bears.
That's what? It calls you mountain bears?
Mountain bears. And
it's a white ass bear, man.
It's especially with my son, his height, and I see this. They're like, but yeah, I've been able to see that. I've been to the sorting farms. I've been. The neatest experiences was 2 years ago. I went to their annual retreat, an awards meeting. It's out in the middle of nowhere, 45 minutes in the dark outside of Medellin.
Okay,
what used to be.
This is like the workers.
This is like their leadership team.
Okay,
management team, and it was a great experience. I catch about every fifth word in Spanish. Everything's in Spanish.
Yeah.
But some of these people are leaders in the farm. Some of the people are leaders, executive, more in the offices. But it's their one big time, especially people coming to the farms. Those people work very hard and have difficult jobs. And so they're all dressed up and it's a big deal. And like every annual meeting you would have, it's just a little bit different that way.
Yeah.
And that's when I was introduced. They had me stand up, and this before my son got involved with it. They said, and in English, basically, they said, this is our biggest investor. Now, I don't have the most money in the company. That's awesome. But without question, until I involved my son, I was the biggest investor.
That's pretty cool.
But it's been a great experience, and the culture's been great to learn. We spent a lot of time there in Cartagena, which is more the fun part of it. But I've really enjoyed it. It's been a nice little expansion of my skill sets, cultural experience. I really opened some doors that way. So that part's been fun. And then I've had bought a building down here, an industrial building a few years back, and keep a lot of old cars in it. So that keeps me very busy. The irony is I have a friend here who's been around here since the late 80s and was in hospitality business, but he's since retired. He's about almost exactly 20 years older than me. It helps me. Well, I watch him do a lot of things. I say he helps me.
Oh, come on. I think you help.
He helps me out. I'm getting better. I got to go back tomorrow and finish a water pump on a 60 Jeep. But turns out he was the manager of the Hilton when I checked in there in 1993. Really? And I don't remember him or see him, but there was this glass office in the middle of the room. And I remember that office, and he had that built. That was how he operated.
That's pretty neat.
It was very full circle. It took us about
you guys are tight now.
10 years to figure that out. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
10 years after meeting each other?
We're talking about it. I'm like, so what years were you at Sandestin?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So it was very cool. But
we have the car problem as a mutual problem.
Yes, it is.
Passion projects. So what were you mentioned something about consulting.
So when I retired, like everybody, I had Cobra for 18 months, and I had friends that had retired in a similar way ahead of me who told me, you've got a problem coming, and it's health insurance.
Yeah.
Well, I did with a lot of things that aren't important to me that day. I just ignored it.
Yeah.
Right? And they were right. I had a problem. I thought I would just go on, to healthcare.gov or whatever. And I did that. And then I called them. And what they had done is set up a consulting group as primarily a vehicle to get access to group health insurance, but also, you had people who ran some big, what's called revenue cycle management businesses, billing and collecting for big groups, some hospital administrators, some other executives. Everybody was in healthcare. So as a byproduct for the group, we said we're going to offer our services to people in that space to provide some consulting. And so we've done, I didn't want to be overloaded with it, but we've done a number of projects, and we're in one now that I know the person, and they're involved in the obstetrical field, and opening a big building and trying to create a partnership with a hospital and hospital system. So you cherry pick from the people on the group that have had a lot of experience in that area. And then, we work out a financial arrangement, and we just come in and help these folks be able to navigate whatever trouble they're having about. It mostly comes to practice management or merger and acquisition type of fields or issues.
Okay. So you're helping manage practices, this company is.
Well, so the company will come in and just consult. We won't do long-term arrangements, but to be able to help them through a process. That means somebody might be trying to buy them. Somebody might be trying to partner with them. They may be putting together a strategic plan to expand their business that doesn't include M&A. It may include compensation plans. I mean, in the healthcare field, there are 3 comp plans: the one you're on, the one you just got off of, and the one you're going to.
Yeah.
You never know what you're getting paid.
Got it.
It changes all the time. And so help with some of those kind of things.
So you started out this with your health insurance comment. Is that because you needed health insurance? So you went back to consortium? Is that where we're going here?
I need 2 more years, George.
Okay, got it. All right.
That's the answer. And
well, I'm intrigued by what you were doing. And I'm sitting here, how the hell is this tying to health? Oh, he needs it.
I had to. And so the group got me the health insurance.
Yeah.
And then these are, a few of the guys in the group.
Skill sets that you have and they can utilize.
Yeah. So if I can provide true value.
Yeah.
Because I don't do that stuff for free, and if I'm going to take the time,
your time is valuable. You have limes to count and all your money.
That's right. I got a water pump to install. I don't have time to talk about this, and it is interesting. I go from being on a call before I came here with 6 execs from one of the probably 2 or 3 largest healthcare systems in Atlanta Metro, and this physician that's expanding or practice. And there's a lot of relationships of how a hospital works. I mean, everyone mostly thinks it's like what you see daytime television.
Yeah.
I'm chief of staff. Nobody wants that job. That's the worst job ever.
Yeah.
You rotate that around, and people pay the price for doing that. It's all these dynamics of how a physician, are they employed by the hospital? Are they independent? Is it a hybrid arrangement? Can the hospital let them be independent, but provide them staff like a management service organization and rent them back to them? And hospitals have better reimbursement schedules than individual physicians because they have better negotiating power.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an individual hospital, if you're a system with thousands of doctors who work for you, you swing a big stick against United or whomever to negotiate. So a lot of reasons for them to be together. So those type of environments is where I'm best, and one of the other partners is best in terms of help navigate this. What I think of is not really a big deal to understand is apparently more challenging than I thought. It's just after doing it 30 years, it's kind of second
nature to you. Yeah. Good for you. Any other words of wisdom and all your wonderful success from recruiting doctors to slinging fruit?
It's interesting. I think I look at friends I have that are, friends are just people I know in their careers. And, I've been super lucky that I've been able to do something that I was really passionate about. And I feel, although we got paid and many times paid really well, we made a difference. But I look at folks that work into their 70s and then on, and we've got friends and neighbors and what's doing that. And it's fantastic if you have that passion for it. 31 years, it turns out that 30 was my number.
Yeah.
And I had ran through that, and it was a great experience. I wouldn't change anything. My my tank of all the stuff behind the scenes, the non-key employees and and I say that people don't work out, and there's no University of Physician recruiting, so you trained everyone from scratch, right? And that could be great, and it could be a challenge. And I just ran that cycle. But if I look at it, I see some people that have lost that spark as I had.
Yeah.
And I think are in a situation where they don't have to do that anymore, and they do it. And, nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. I retired at 56. I've had some family members pass away, men at 45, some at 98. Yeah. And that wasn't the joy of my life.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it. It provided me everything I have today, and I wouldn't change anything. But, not to be afraid of that piece of if you don't feel that same kind of a passion, and you've got yourself in any kind of positive situation where you could live without it, even if it doesn't mean you're 10 more years of working. So between 55 and 65, my life might be different. I might not have to fly American. I'd maybe fly something a little different.
Yeah.
But for me, that stuff wasn't worth that anymore, that I really wanted to take the time to be with my wife, my kids, my hobbies, my health. You're probably well aware that's a hard thing to do when you're cranking full steam and you're the person everybody's looking at to be in,
I get it.
They don't run to your front door every day and say, let me tell you the 10 best things that happened today.
Yeah.
As you well know. So that part, they're going to come to you like.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. It's like, okay. My only rule.
No, they don't.
When I walked in my office and go past my assistant, who I told you I miss greatly, is I'm like, don't talk to me until I sit down. Yeah. That's it. You can talk to me. Just don't hit me with the problem. Let me get my jacket off.
Yeah.
Briefcase down. That's how old I am. Briefcase. Yeah. And hang my jacket up. Now I'm ready. I'm ready to go. But
it's not the list of the 10 best things that happened before you got into your chair.
Here it comes. What happened last night?
I get that.
Well, you think about that. You think about that business. You're like, all the things we went through. We went through, the 2000 crash, if you will, or we went to 9/11. 40% of the physicians we placed, what we called international medical graduates, which means they went to medical school somewhere else and are probably from somewhere else. And that place is probably in India or Pakistan.
Yeah.
Just numbers. Those people weren't dying to jump on a plane as soon as the 9/11 lift was to jump on a plane and to go to small town Alabama. Yeah. They're like, everybody's blaming me for this. And they weren't entirely wrong.
Yeah.
And then you went to 2008. I thought our business is recession proof. And I had been right until 2008. Turns out we were recession resistant. Yeah. And those are very different words. And
came out of it, but
business fell by 50%. So we built that business 4 times.
Yeah.
After every kind of tragedy from the beginning up, I didn't have a fifth in me.
I get that. I mean, I at my age, not that I'm much younger than you, but still, if I don't have passion for something, go do something else. And I tell our people that, like, if you don't have it, it shows. And I know what you're talking about, guys and girls stay in it too long because whether they have to or just they don't know what else to do, and a bitterness can seep in. And that's not healthy for anybody.
No, and it's not healthy. And also you look around you and the people you've built up that have really come through the ranks and are there waiting. And you're the blockade.
Get out of the way.
Either need to
give them an opportunity.
Yeah, give an opportunity in another organization. Tough to lose them, but that's it. Or get out of the way.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of options to get out of the way. I just didn't want them anymore. And I looked around the executive team, great people. Just let them have different passion, different motivations than me, and God love it. It was great, but I could tell too. I wasn't totally off because it wasn't that long between. There were several people my age, and I was the first to retire from the executive committee.
Yeah,
and so about 3 years, it started happening. It just maybe I missed out for a couple of years, but
you were a leader in your own right.
Yeah, I'm like
a leader to the exit door.
Some of them were happy to see me go because you familiar with what a PETA is, George?
Yeah,
it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I could fall in that category. My job was, because our business was so different, was to defend the business from not the executives, not the people behind the scenes that want to come tell you how to do it, your accounting, or how to do this or do that. HR, great. All these other things, great, but I'm not going to turn over my staff that are critical to my business to somebody who doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
Now, the people around me, it took them 6 months to call me, and they did. They go, now we know what you did. This tells me they were always wondering what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
It's telling me I wasn't doing much. You're going to the beach, Mark. I'm like, well, that's true.
Level of respect. Well, look, clearly successful. Thanks for being my neighbor.
Absolutely.
And best of luck with the fruit. This seems to be going well in your second-ish career as you guide your son as well in the investment of fruit from Colombia. I appreciate you coming in, brother. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you.